سبحان فالق الإصباح.
Yes, bum stickity bum. I got the rope a dope, the tic-tac-toe, the oopsie lazy. Now you caught the maybes, infidels. But there's no babies here, only absolutes as we break down all of the heavy-hitting bombs dropped at War Games on the sheets in all of your mark threads here on the Monday Locker Room, Hamin Media Group, channelattitude.com. Special guest host, the man, Jargo. Yalla. Yes. It's Monday, infidels. We're back doing it. We jumped online last night to watch a little of NXT War Games, pal, and about all I could stomach. But glad to be back in the saddle this morning to kick off another week of wrestling here with the best staff in professional wrestling. Got to send huge shout outs to all the staff at HMG doing great work this weekend online promoting. From my man Ryder on Instagram, my man El Plaja, Kaz, Jargo, RBV, everybody just all hands on deck putting out that content, whether it's Stevie Ray TV, Colin with the A Show, or just all of our main lineup shows here or at Russo brand, man. Just as much great media clipping as I could ever expect from my staff. And I just wanted to say thank you to all those guys for putting in that extra time over the weekend. And this guy's putting in extra time, just punched out on the clock, punched in on his second gig. The man who's making all those NCAA moves. Jargo, how are you, pal? Good to see you this morning.
I'm great, man. You know what? It's funny what 9 days off of work will do for one's psyche. You know, it's just completely unplugged for 9 days. And now it's like, man, those 8 hours went by fast. Let's sit down and do a podcast too. What the hell? It's not very often that me and the Ayatollah get to be on air together, even though we talk almost on a weekly basis. So Rick hit me up. He had some complications, and I was like, hell yes, I'll do it. I can get on with Ben Hamin. What's going on, my friend?
Yalla, man. Good. Just it's crazy what you say to unplug, because even yesterday, I didn't get on the 3D printers. I should have done a little maintenance, but I had like maybe 2-3 hours. I'm like, this is weird because I'm just so nonstop producing from the moment I get up till the moment I sleep 7 days a week. I go maybe 120, 140 days, and then we take off for the Caribbean, but there's no days off in those 140 days of work. My mind is just in a crazy place. So 9 days would be a longer stretch than anything I've seen in 5-6 years of time off, man. I'm glad you earned it. You work your ass off, dude. The new house, the last year, everything you've been doing, dude. I'm glad you got that stretch to recharge.
Life's been crazy, man. And now, I get to sit down, I get to talk with you. And I guess for me anyway, the thing that has been just driving me up the wall, we had this huge cyber attack at work, right? And not a whole lot of people inside of the wrestling business necessarily picked up on this story, because why would they care about a, multi-billion-dollar hack of a mass media conglomerate? Yes. Oh, it just so happens that happened at about the same time they decided to put the kibosh on Ring of Honor. Final Battle coming up this Saturday. And I guess my question for you, Hamin, do they do any business at Final Battle? Because everything I'm hearing, the talent seems pretty done with the company. Like Jay Lethal buried the company, Punk buried it, Danielson buried it. Like, are we expecting some big surprises come Final Battle, or is this just going to go over like a fart in church?
Yeah, I'm not sure why they're burying them on their way out. That they clock so many paychecks from them. You know what I mean? And why are you wanting to shut that door? That's an interesting and strange thing. Something even more must have happened where promises were made and broken for those guys to do that. Somebody tried to work those guys and told them one thing instead of being straight up with your top name workers. That's the only thing I can think that would warrant that response. I saw Dalton Castle kind of be like, it was just another taping with nobody there. And instead of doing like, hey, this is it. this is how we're going to go out. Let's
Right.
do a retrospective. Let's do something that's different instead of like, oh, we've been building the final battle and we'll hopefully this spring be able to turn the lights back on, but we're not really sure. So we're going to try and work the workers and work the boys.
Well, you know what's going on here, Hamin?
Go ahead, please.
This is all about this cyber attack.
Yeah.
Sinclair got hit with this huge cyber attack. The estimate that I have been hearing is like $26 million.
Is it a ransomware or are you talking about loss of revenue?
Oh no, it's a ransomware attack. They took all of the computers offline. So
Wow.
Ring of Honor's budget is, I don't know, right about $22 million. They needed liquid capital. That's what this is all about. So once they turn it into the insurance company rebukes that revenue. Then Ring of Honor relaunches, but it's going to be under a completely different model. I'm calling it Ring of Honor 2.0. I mean, like that's really what it's going to be. It sounds like it's going to be nothing but independent talent on one-off deals. Like they're not planning on signing anybody.
Yeah, that's you know, what is that? Like they act like that's something super ingenuitive to like get back online. You're just an indie with TV now.
It's PWG with TV.
Exactly. You know, so, and maybe not the worst thing, you know, to scale it back instead of trying to compete with that. There will be brand recognition still, but you're not going to get what you had in guys who are, if the market's flooded, they know if there's 150 TV ready workers out there that want $100,000, $150,000 contracts, that they can get them for 200 because there's such a $200 a performance.
Yeah.
I'm saying
One-off shows.
Yeah. So that equals out to about $2,500 for top name workers. You know what I mean? Who will pay their own way, who won't need flights, who will come in. Yeah, sure. There's guys who would want flights, but guess what? We're not paying you $3-4 grand a show. And I can get 4 or 5 other guys who can do all the flip shit you can do because you don't have any character. And, you know, we're going to get that over because we can replace you that quickly. There's nothing that's super must see, even though they've got, you know, incredible talent from the Briscoes,
Absolutely.
to Shane Taylor's squad, to Dalton Castle, to the Allure. Obviously, I'm not trying to down any of these people that I got great respect for and that we work with on a constant basis. But you got to come up with $22 million. Are you really going to go, okay, the ransomware thing is paid off? Whether is it like, is that solved, or can they again flip the switch on you after you pay them their $26 million?
Right. And I mean, things are just now starting to get back to normal. That's why I could take 9 days off.
Yeah.
And things are still pretty jacked up. And I mean, when you're talking that many TV stations, this just became incredibly cheap syndication programming for Sinclair Broadcasting.
Do they know who did it?
Bro, they're blaming the Russians. It was not the Russians. I Googled this virus thing. This thing's called the Wizard of Oz, right?
Okay.
So basically the purpose is good luck finding the man behind the curtain.
Mm-hmm.
But as I researched this thing, it was developed at MIT.
Of course.
This is not the Russians.
So it's
I mean, come on.
A government thing, possibly even Vault 7 level, that maybe the top dogs at Sinclair were told to do something pre-pandemic and they didn't bend the knee. And now this is the payback for that.
Well, and I guess the ironic thing, I mean, clearly you have Fox News as the voice of the right, but Sinclair Broadcasting is probably number 2 right behind Fox News when it comes to the number of homes and their media slant. So, I mean, you start pissing off the liberals.
Yeah. Sinclair kayfabes, though. Like, no one
Oh,
ever.
yeah.
It's a Sinclair property. They stay under the radar with that name. Like, you know, it's an overarching brand, but you don't take it as seriously as an NBC, GE, Universal Media, but they have as much stroke, if not more. I think that's an interesting play with them. And the fact that they are covert and primarily Israeli owned, I'll leave it at that, because they were never going to put, I was told that they won't put me or the insurgency on TV based on Zionist,
I can see that,
paranoia of doing that on there. So I've known about them for over a decade and how they are kind of maybe inside of that government, web, and maybe this is a bigger upper level of somebody wanted to get a top guy to bend the knee in the boardroom and they didn't. And now this is how you get paid back with a cyber attack and then take the Hillary Clinton way out. But what's interesting to me, and we had, I forget his name off the top of my head. God damn it. Too early in the morning. But on Conspiracy Horseman, we were talking about, he's an Instagram guy who does a lot of, and Stevie's in the chat. Maybe he can get over my CT. Does a lot of really great comedic and satirical things. But we were talking about World War IV and what have you. And it's not going to be, drones and invasions and this. I mean, we are seeing Ukraine and Russia build up on, like, that's about to pop off in a proxy war. But it's things like this: cyber attacks, supply chain disruption, attacks on infrastructure digitally to shut down, internet shutdowns. This is the new modern warfare that cripples nation states to get them to bow. So that now it's not on your chessboard, it's on China's chessboard. And there's all these little things. Bobby Sausalito, thank you very much, Stevie. Give him a follow. Great monologist and comedian on Instagram, Bobby Sausalito. At Take Naps is his IG handle. But, when he said that, we were just so conventionally conditioned from Vietnam War to Iraq 1-2 and Afghanistan. We're invading. He had a great point there. And is this what we're seeing with our major TV networks, with interruptions and all of these takeovers? Really, we're in World War IV and have been, and how much of this goes on every day, where it's about crashing stock markets and cryptocurrencies being banned. All that shit figures in, man. And it's all a big, whether it's the banksters, big pharma, secret government, I'm sure cartels and all that shit with what we see of border issues. Remember all those people at the border? What happened to those 15,000 under the bridge?
Right.
I don't ever want to feel like I did that day. And we're back. So it's an interesting thing how Sinclair could play into that. And Russia. Of course, we're going to go that fucking route, bro.
But to bring it back to a pro wrestling context, right? I mean, like, my understanding is Joe Koff personally is the one that pushed for the release of all the Ring of Honor talent, because he explained to the company, like, listen, we can't expect these guys to go 6 months without a payday while you guys get your shit together, because that's really what's going on here. So shout outs to Joe Koff, good friend. Yeah. And he actually went to bat for all the Ring of Honor talent. So people that want to bury Ring of Honor, this is not about Ring of Honor. This is about Ring of Honor being a small little pawn on the chessboard inside of the giant world that is corporate media.
Well, it's about liquidity, right? I mean,
absolutely.
Sinclair isn't producing TV shows. They don't have a development and a studio where they're, hey, we're greenlighting this sitcom and we're greenlighting this drama. ROH is one of the few, I don't know if it's a lost leader in what they make or not, but that doesn't matter. $20 million when you need liquidity, and that's what you're dumping in there, and you got to start cutting stuff. It's not personal, bro. It's not because you missed your 450 splash. This is fucking bigger business than indie workers in wrestling and entertainment. There's something bigger, overarching that influences it all.
And people say all the time, oh, well, they should just sell Ring of Honor. And it's what you don't understand is, like, Seinfeld just went to Netflix for $500 million to syndicate that show for streaming. 2.5 Men is right around $1.5 million an episode. We run Ring of Honor at my TV station 6 times over the course of a weekend. That's 6 hours of syndicate programming. They don't have to fill and doesn't charge them a freaking penny outside of the outside budget. So Ring of Honor is worth so much more to Sinclair Broadcasting than it is actually worth as a company.
I agree with that. And because of the tape library and obviously 20-25 years of that stuff together, I think they're a little short-sighted and like, okay, not 20 million, but let's put $500,000 into this, where we have 3 editors, a director, and we go back through our library and tell the early stories, and we say to our audience, hey, things are crazy right now. We don't have the ability to do that, but we have all this, and we don't want this to go away. And yeah, we might have said spring is our restart date, but that's wink, wink, nudge, nudge to the workers. Right. We don't really know.
WCW said that too.
Right. So, and be honest, but we're talking wrestling, so honesty does not figure in. You know, to do the history of Dalton Castle, CM Punk, the Briscoes run, the tag team titles from the inception to where they are now, the women's division, and do a month for each of those, and really go back and get value and endear your audience to you, because and put out the bat signal saying, hey, we need help. We need you guys to watch it. We don't want this to go away. We need the numbers. And this is what we're going to do while we're going through all this together, man. So,
and for the next 6 months, like if Bryan Danielson wins the AEW World Heavyweight Championship in 2 weeks, you're going to get the best of Bryan Danielson on Sinclair TV for the next 6 months. Like they will run that shit to death.
Sure. And why not even try and open the forbidden door and thank Tony Khan. You got to thank him out of the gate, but have Bryan Daniel come over and talk about each one of those. Bring him in the studio for one day, and he cuts a 3-minute promo on each one of these matches that you put them all in there in the career retrospective. I think there's a lot of opportunity to them to have wrestling based on their library, because everyone's like, if they sell the library, ROH is done, which is 100% true. So if we're worrying about that, let's get max value before that and show the crossover and endear the wrestling world, the workers, the fans to it. But it seems like if DB and Punk and these guys are cutting a promo on them, something else is going on that hasn't come to the surface yet.
Which begs the question, if you're Joe Koff, do you call up Tony Khan this week and say, listen, here's the plan for Final Battle. Jonathan Gresham is going to defeat Bandito to become the new and final Ring of Honor World Heavyweight Champion. And then we want Bryan Danielson to enter, challenge Gresham for the title right then and there, and take the title and retire the Ring of Honor World Heavyweight Championship with Bryan Danielson. He can take the belt. He can have the belt on AEW TV for the next 6 months, keep the brand relevant. Like, if you're Joe Koff, do you make that call?
I think that's a smart call. Isn't it already in the can, though? Isn't Final Battle?
No, Final Battle is live next Saturday night. Then
yes. Yeah, like if you have a chance to close a pattern or a circle or something that's been going around in improv, we can do that in one scene. We can find the game and have a pattern out. But some patterns that you drop that pebble in the pond make a ripple, and that ripple turns into a big wave, and you got to wait for it to crash on the shore. It might take 10 years to get all the way around. But for those who invested their time and to close that story off their way, I'm not saying Grisham or anybody, El Bandito wouldn't be a good champion, but you have a chance to make your audience go, that was worth my time. That to tie up those ends, to give that psychological feeling of completion. Why not do it? And then put Tony Khan over to have him come out and clap because he wants the pat on the back for doing it and doing good business for the industry. I don't see any problem with that. And in fact, you could march out Punk too if you wanted to. I'd put them both on the show, dude.
Who would you rather have as the final quote unquote Ring of Honor World Heavyweight Champion? I mean, because Samoa Joe is kind of floating out there.
Yeah.
You've got Punk, you've got Danielson. If you had your ideal world, who retires as Ring of Honor World Heavyweight Champion?
El Generico.
Hey, I'm down for that. I'm down. We got Chris Ames from Rampage Uncaged right here at the Hamin Media Group channel, attitude.com. He is currently in Mexico searching for El Generico after what happened to Sami Zayn on SmackDown.
I think that'd be a great thing to is it going to hurt WWE? No, he's under the mask. It pops the boys. It's good business and all that. And you make it look like Punk and Joe and Daniel Bryan are going to do something to be the ones. And then out of nowhere, this guy comes in and fucking snakes it. You know what I mean? So you get everybody there. So you don't have to be like, oh, well, he was the one. Oh, well, he could have been the one. That's the heartwarming, I'm good with that choice for everybody. I can't see anybody being like, what the fuck they put it on him, as long as you get the tip of the hat from the other guys. But we're talking big WrestleMania level booking right here for a good brother favor. Is that kind of shit even on the radar? I don't think it is. I would love to, just because I love that pattern completion, you know, and for the fans who love it.
And if they're doing it with AEW, if they try to go for a Danielson, if they try to go for a Punk, all they got to do is say, listen, we'll give you the rights to All In. Because Ring of Honor owns the rights to All In. AEW can't use any of that footage. And that is probably the most valuable part of the ROH library to an AEW.
Yeah, I would agree. I don't know if they care a ton about that. I think it's just about doing good business for the boys and wrapping up something that laid the foundation so your companies could thrive. You know
Absolutely.
what I mean? That's just a good favor, dude. After everything that's gone back and forth, and I don't think ROH had a ton of heat with either company, so why not do something where you're the middle ground where dream booking can occur?
Let's talk about Sami Zayn, and let's talk about what happened to Sami Zayn on SmackDown. He gets buried by Brock Lesnar. He gets buried by Roman Reigns. Like, he's done, right? Like, he is completely, in a WWE context, that dude is done.
I disagree. And I could be wrong. But this is like, and I'm not trying to, you know, fanboy you out by any means. So there's a lot that goes into this, right? Is he done because of Vince being hot at MSG when Rollins got attacked and then the other fight almost happened and Sammy was like, come on, motherfucker, like trying to get the guy to jump the fucking thing. I heard there's big heat on Rollins and there's big heat on Zayn for that and big heat on Montez Ford. So if they wanted to make an example and you like that straw that broke the camel's back, yeah, here's what happens in wrestling. When you're buried and you're gone, you're not, and I say this and I'm wrong while I'm saying it, like, you don't make big moves in the main event and people say you're buried because of how you got beat. If you're in the main event, you're not buried, especially if you're in there with Brock and Roman Reigns. Your stock price just went from lower mid card to very high. You just got a big shine by being in there. So I've seen a lot of dirt sheet writers saying he's buried, he's on his way out. If you're buried, you know who's buried? Elias is buried. Like,
hasn't been on TV in weeks.
Yeah, that's what buried is in wrestling, right? Now I say that and fucking Hit Row goes from NXT to getting drafted to getting fired. But I'm not really comparing Hit Row, their run, to where Sami Zayn is. Like, Hit Row didn't come in and wasn't put in the main event. So when people are like, oh, he's on his way out, dude, you don't waste TV time in a major storyline with your two top talents in your company with an undercard comedy guy who should take the fall and should be beaten that quickly because these are your top dudes and he's the character guy. He's not going to be able to hang with either of these dudes. He should be beaten that fast. But in the fans' minds, when you get clipped in 30 seconds, he's buried. He's on his way out. What do you want him to fucking hang 5 minutes with Brock? You want him to hang 10 more with Roman after Brock kills him? No. If you're in the main event on SmackDown with those two, the last thing you are is buried. You might be beaten and you might be fodder for them to look strong, but in wrestling, dude, if that's buried, bury me every fucking week. Okay? Like that when you're not on TV, that's when you're buried, and fans need to understand that shit. I just saw so many pundits going off, see, he's gone. Nah, dude, if he was out and he was peacing out, then they would. Now I could be, they could make a completely stupid move and make me look stupid here, and that's fine because I can do that myself. But they may fire him, and that would be ridiculous. That would show even more mismanagement in writing and all that kind of shit, dude. But I don't see this guy going anywhere where he's been able to work with Logan Paul. He's been, Bad Bunny, right? Did he do the Bad Bunny stuff too?
That was Miz.
That was Miz. Sorry. But he's got all those chops to fucking get over. And now he really is, man. And I heard he did some stuff on Instagram. I didn't see it before this that like set up his business. This is a guy who is using social media properly, whether it was the conspiracy theory stuff or how he's setting up with him and Brock and whatnot to align himself alongside there, Buried's the last thing Sami Zayn is right now.
Even Generico, like El Generico has been gone for years, but like maybe once, twice a year, he happens to get reception in Tijuana, and just long enough to send out a tweet that says, "Hi, I'm here."
That's taking care of your business, bro.
Absolutely.
And fucking making your mythology live. And it only takes one little second to do that kind of stuff. You know what I mean? It's not really going into business for yourself. It's taking care of your career and your legacy. And those fans that pay attention to those tiny, tiny details, when you can pay them off, like in something that we talked about earlier with him coming back, that rush and that feeling that comes over you of having invested your time, that's the beauty of psychology in all art forms in wrestling. When you see something in Sopranos that ties back to season 1 that wasn't referenced and he gets all the way back. Oh, it feels so good. It feels so good.
So with all that said, let's talk about last night in NXT. Braun Breaker buried himself last night.
I didn't watch that part. So what went down?
Okay, so they had this moment laid out perfectly, Ben. Okay. He's the last guy to enter for the Team 2.0. They have the door chained shut, and they have the referees down there with bolt cutters, and they're trying to cut it open, right? He's Braun Breaker. He's coming down. He's like, let me do it. And he grabs it, and he's going to break the chains. It's going to be this great, like, career-defining moment. Dude, he had to try to break those chains like a half a dozen times, and it took him about 30 seconds. He is done.
So did he have? He tried to break chains with his hands?
No, with a freaking bolt cutters, he couldn't do it.
Why would you not 3D print? Because my printers are out. A 3D print one fucking link in the chain or 3 links, and have it on the backside, spray paint it fucking chrome so he could come down and go, with his fucking hand.
This great moment that you can replay for the next 20. Dude, he is done. Vince McMahon is going to see that whatever push he had coming, congratulations, you just defined yourself into the mid-card forever. Like, if this guy went from the WrestleMania main event to the WrestleMania opening match in a span of about 25-30 seconds on NXT last night.
That's brutal. And that's them not having the stunt set up to get over, or did they not practice with the fucking things earlier to fucking see how much it takes to cut through a real chain? And okay, that's going to take 30 seconds. We got to find a way to vamp so we don't have dead air right here. I also read on the sheets, they're like, who came up with the Braun Breaker name? Braun Breaker did. He said he was breaking guys on the football field, and his name is Bronson, right? So Braun, and he took that and the other, and now he's Braun Breaker. Dude, asinine, bro.
It was so perfect, man. They had him set up perfect. He was gonna break the chains, right? Like, you could just see like the creative meeting with Bruce and Vince. Oh yeah, he's gonna break the chain. The camera's all zoomed in on him. It's gonna be this great moment. Nothing, bro. Nothing.
Dude, that's too bad, man. And that, like, in wrestling, time in the ring feels like forever. Something that takes 5 seconds and you were like, all right, I'm taking my time. You should really double that, but it feels like forever to register it. But when that's going on, dude, time slows down. You're like, this is a nightmare. Like, I've been in a couple of those situations.
I'm seeing people in the chat that are like, oh, well, yeah, bolt cutters are difficult to use. Oh, no, he's not buried. Guys, it doesn't matter. The only guy that it matters to is Vince McMahon. And he made Vince McMahon look like an idiot last night. At the end of the day, that's what it's all about.
Yeah, why wouldn't you even go to, if you don't want a 3D print for 5 days of chain, you can go to Lowe's and get a plastic chain there and just spray paint the shit with fucking chrome so it looks like metal, dude. Like, we're talking prop basics 101 now. That being said, there's over 35 people that have been laid off from the office who are nameless, faceless, along with this 150 worker tidal wave, in the last year. So is the prop master that was working with Dewey and all these things, when things slip through the cracks and you're like, oh, it looks good on paper. Yeah, he'll just go out there, cut the chain, and he'll rip through it. Like, nah, B. If you don't have somebody to do the industrial light magic and get those extra fucking things good to protect that guy, and it was just written on paper, 3 days before, things that could go very, very badly. You got to protect your creative, the stunt spots, and all that shit. So that's interesting to me, man. That it doesn't surprise me. Why? Because this is developmental, and fucking corny, carny shit is gonna happen. And usually, they're the ones who do great pre-tapes when they have the time, but on the spot, anything can go wrong. So
and I agree. Bolt cutter's not the easiest thing in the world to use if you don't know what you're doing. They're just not. And those chains are way stronger than you think.
But you have a fucking link that's pre-doctored with just a little bit holding on so he can come up and do that. Obviously they did.
And the way that he was pulling it, like you could tell there was supposed to be this great moment where the chain breaks behind Braun Breaker, and that shit would have ran for the next 20 years, man.
The thing is, he shouldn't even have bolt cutters. He should do it with his bare hands.
His bare hands, right?
Yeah. So the very carny as fuck out of the gate there, dude. I watched the girls opener, and what a hard story to follow, even though the skateboard girl goes over after blowing her shoulder out, but they're doing all this individual stuff. And dude, these girls were kicking the shit out of each other. That Gigi girl, wow. Easy enough on the eyes, like Becky Lynch's stunt double, but fuck with gimmicks. But dude,
Priscilla Kelly
booting girls in the fucking face, booting devastating stuff that was way unsafe.
She kicked Io in the face so damn hard, I thought Io had a freaking concussion. Soon as Io entered the match.
Yeah. And then the skateboard girl supposedly blows her shoulder out, separated. Io's trying, the refs are like, we're gonna help her. Let's get her out. Io's like, nah, closes the door, walks
I got this,
steps over and fucking yanks her shoulder, which doesn't put it back in. So I don't know if that was a shoot or what. But then the story we get to is that she's down the whole time with the girls protecting her, and they hit the big finish and she steals it. So obviously that was written in, but I don't know, man. That match was clusterfuck 5,000. And then which is what I would expect from 10 developmental girls at the same time, or 8, whatever it was.
Unfortunately, yeah.
Yeah, but that's developmental. What are you going to do?
Yeah, but on the main roster, they got Toni Storm and Charlotte fighting because they're throwing pies in each other's faces. The best women's division in the world, this is what we're doing.
And we fire Taya Valkyrie instead of bringing her up. Taya Valkyrie ready for TV, ready to face fucking Charlotte out of the gate the day she showed up. But Toni Storm, you guys. The match after this, though, I was marking out for, bro.
Was that Imperium?
Yes.
They're so freaking good, dude.
The one guy, Eichner, crazy strength and a lot of big high spots, dude. But his partner,
Marcel Bartel.
I was blown away with that guy's work. Now, thin needs more size. That's what Vince would say. He's got the height, but when you're talking work rate and the way he was putting his stuff together, bro, I was blown away by this guy's a better worker than 95% of your main roster talent in the way he operates in the ring, how he takes time to do character after he hits his shit, how he reacts very William Regal, bro, like a very young but senior level performer, even when he comes in, dude's coming in to charge and he puts his foot up, dude grabs his foot, he takes his other leg, puts it on top just to drive the guy's hands down to break it. Dude, when was the last time you've seen anything that technical and that simple but technical, using leverage? It's a spot to here it comes. Spot to boot you. No, I caught it. Boom. No, you didn't. Down you go. Bang, bang, boom. We're out. That's real wrestling, bro. And
Ben,
we really get to see that.
When I started broadcasting with you, and it's been 4 or 5 years that we've been doing stuff together at this point, you asked me once upon a time, and this really sticks out to me. Explain Zack Sabre Jr. to me. When's the last time I saw that? Well, I've seen it about 15 times over the course of the last month because I watched New Japan Pro Wrestling. You just explained Zack Sabre Jr. Everything is about leverage. Everything is about the position that he can get you into. And Marcel Bartel, shout out to the Andrew Bello. Bello and I both have been putting this kid over for about 3 years now. He is absolutely fantastic. I do wish he was a little bit bigger. Fabian Eichner, he was kind of like this miscast baby face that was really, really struggling in NXT. They put him in as part of Ringkampf with Walter and Marcel Bartel. I think those two guys are the best tag team in the WWE. And that's saying something because they have the Usos in the New Day.
I don't think they're the best, but they're up there.
They're like, really freaking good, especially for their age.
If they were working Usos, New Day, and
absolutely
like that's what, because you can only get so far facing a mismatched tag team of Kyle O'Reilly and Big Von Lilas. You know what I mean? So.
And shout out to Kyle O'Reilly for not being a stupid babyface. Like, he saw it coming. He knew Von Wagner was going to turn on him. He ducks it. He hits the dude. Undisputed Era signal. Suck it. Like, we know Von Wagner's going over him on Tuesday night inside of a cage, and then he's going to go join Bobby Fish in AEW. But I thought that angle was done brilliantly.
I thought it was done very well myself there, because I was like, I was getting hot that they were like, all right, these guys just won and they're leaving, but they're going to give, Kyle O'Reilly, because I didn't know Kyle was going to do another show. I thought this was it for him too.
Yep.
Until that, but I'm like, they're going to give Kyle O'Reilly a big send off while he's about to jump ship. That's a weird thing. And
great
then
swerve though.
Yeah, that's why it worked. Then I was like, dude, this was probably one of my favorite wrestling segments of 2021, man. To be honest with you, I was so blown away with Eichner's strength. The only thing I wish is that the names were switched, because Bartel looks like an Eichner. He looks like a Hitler Youth, and the other guy looks the other way, right? Like, so it's that was funny to me. The thing that popped me, because I wanted to bury him, and then I marked out for him how good his wrestling was. Bartel comes out with the NXT title on upside down. I don't know if that's something he does, but fucking one guy had it on the right way. So maybe it was just a fucking snafu, but this was such a goddamn good tag match. Only a couple things I would have punched up. There's one point where they have them and they go to do the hot tag, and Eichner circles around and comes back in the ring to cut off Kyle. He runs right by, like, he comes in on the side that I call him Von Lilas, Von Wagner. They both look at Von Lilas is a big, devastating motherfucker from OVW who would be a great partner for Von Wagner, the Vons.
He would.
Family. But he slides in on that side. That was a mistake. What he should have done is grab Big Von, pull him down, fuck him over. So Kyle O'Reilly's trying to come and get the tag. Then he slides in, shuts down. So he boom, boom. And then he's going to go and do something. Kyle O'Reilly out wrestles him, goes through his legs. Then big man gets up and he tags him again right there. So there's just a few small tweaks. And, it's Baskin Robbins 36 flavors of ice cream here, 36 chambers of death, 31 flavors.
Wu-Tang!
Nice, Shaolin. But there's just maybe one or two things that Rip would be like, nope, hold on, do this like this, bing, bang, boom, and tighten that match up. I still give that match a 98 out of 100, bro. I think really that was fucking good. Good.
Kyle O'Reilly, is he just Eddie Edwards in a different body?
That's
like really good wrestler I just don't give a shit about?
It's so tough, because I was talking about this on air last night of like, so he's in the cool kids club of Undisputed, which are the young, hey, you're not in the Bucks and the Elite. Well,
you're not Bullet Club, but you should have been Bullet Club.
Because you're our cool guy buddy who got booked in Japan. That's the entire Undisputed, right? Like, that's all their thing. And out of the Undisputed, Kyle O'Reilly is the low man of the cool kids. I think he knew that. And when he was having an opportunity, this guy's doing NXT, training Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, and now mixing his martial arts in. He went from a boy to a man in his time.
He's so good, but he has no personality.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. So you can have a shooter crew. We've got one with the other guys, Diamond Mine. But if he's jumping ship and you're going to put him with Bobby Fish, there's money there. Individually, it's hard to get those two guys over, bro. It's super hard. And I don't know why. I look at them and I'd like to spar with them for real. I think these
Bobby Fish is really good, and nobody gives him any credit for how good he is.
Oh, I do. I love the way he mixes his Muay Thai. And I told him that before he went to NXT. We worked a lot of indies together, and I like his style because it's not easy to mix in shooter style without like looking you're going into business for yourself and making it look phony. But Fish and Kyle O'Reilly do.
Bobby Fish is everything CM Punk tries to be.
And here's all I could think of. Kyle O'Reilly needs to go have 2-3 underground, like indie level MMA fights and win. Then he needs to show up in AEW, get with them and get in Punk's face to elevate him right out of the fucking gate. And Punk can have another like shoot fight that should be under an AEW banner, and so should Hager, not a worked one like they did with Wardlow, but a real one with Junior Dos Santos, and get these guys over how they could. Yeah. Like, I don't know why WWE's not running Brock versus Lashley in a real shoot fight. Why the fuck wouldn't you pull the trigger on that and let Bellator or UFC capitalize on it, or let it never happen when you have the opportunity? AEW should be thinking the same fucking thing. You know what I mean? So, I don't know. The guy just doesn't have the charisma that comes through. Even though he did a great job at the end of this, I still don't see the money written on him naturally. And that doesn't mean I'm wrong, because people would say that about Eddie Guerrero and other things, but Eddie had tons of charisma. It's
well,
just,
I mean, even Steve Austin.
Right moment. Yeah. Yes.
When you had the ringmaster, there's no charisma there. It was finding the right gimmick and putting it with the right guy. That's what made Steve Austin. It's just Kyle's still looking for it. Eddie Edwards is still looking for it. Bobby Fish.
Eddie kind of found it with being the scumbag, and with Sammy brought that out of him in Impact. You know what I mean?
That was what, been 3-4 years ago.
I agree, but I worked a lot with the Wolves and Eddie, and I would rib Eddie, and probably, you know, we were
great tag team.
Yeah, but I was like, dude, you look like, I mean, not like body wise. I'm like, dude, you look like the dude Paperboy from the video game. Like, he just always had that innocent baby look, and now he's like, you know, from the slums of Shaolin, pretty much. But and they got the wife and whatnot, where Davey still looks like he could be Superman's fucking stunt double, you know. Right. So, I think you're right. Could there be a point in his career where we haven't had this story? He's tried to be, even when Undisputed was doing character, he was like the douchebag guy, right?
Yep. So coming out playing guitar, doing the Hulk Hogan shit.
So he's tried to do it and whatnot. I just can't connect with him. And and other people in the chat were saying that. And I don't know why, because he's fucking pretty good, dude, you know?
Well, and it's the same thing with Eddie Edwards. I mean, like, Sammy Callahan smacking him in the face with a baseball bat. It's the best thing that ever happened to Eddie Edwards. It's unfortunate, but like, you know, a couple of other things from inside of the chat. Was Kyle O'Reilly trained by Harley Race? Yes. Or no, Bobby Fish. I'm sorry. He was trained by Harley Race. Yes, that is true. Kyle O'Reilly needs a good run in the G1. No, I'm sorry. It would be best of Super Juniors. Kyle O'Reilly is not nearly as big as you think he is.
But is that going to get him over even that? Like, is that going to take him to the level? Because he's on a higher level right now than Super Juniors, to be honest with you, because he's in the Good Brother clique. But how are you going to bring over a Gargano, a possible Ciampa, Bobby Fish, Kyle O'Reilly, and now you're just waiting for who is the other one who's in the Diamond Mine?
Roderick Strong.
Roddy Strong, another one in the Cool Kids Club.
Another great wrestler who has zero personality.
Yeah. So like, you're gonna do these buddy favors, and then what? Bring them to TV, and they're not gonna get over there either because they're all fucking 5'10" or below. You know what I mean? Like, that's if you want to bring in Braun and you want to bring in fucking Bray and you want to bring in all these guys, when you even march out a fucking one of those dudes versus Rusev or an Aleister Black, you're going to see a big difference in size and like believability, man. So why would you spend the money just on a buddy favor to bring them in? It's going to be tough for those guys right now. The fact that they didn't get this sounds so shitty. The fact that they didn't get released 90 days ago or right after WrestleMania
Right.
will hurt them for the next 3 years, as opposed to if they had, they would already have contracts and would have beaten all those other guys to the fucking punch. Now the sharks have bitten off the bloated carcass of the promoter, the whale that's already dead, and there ain't much meat left on the bone, but we've got 5 or 6 other sharks, smaller ones, starting to come up who want to eat, and there ain't no room for you at the table. That's the fucking, it's a strange part of our business, bro.
Frank making a comment in the chat about how he only watches New Japan when the vet tells him to. For the record, the vet and I do the best New Japan Pro Wrestling podcast on planet Earth when the stars align. It's called Destino, which you can find over at haminmediagroup.podbean.com. Although there hasn't been a new episode in a while, and I will discuss that on the next one. I feel like Kyle O'Reilly inside a best of Super Juniors would do well against a guy like Hiromu Takahashi, maybe an El Desperado, somebody who has a little bit higher profile. Ben, are you familiar with Hiromu Takahashi at all?
No, I go to Mitsuba Sushi instead of his place.
I think Hiromu is one of those guys. He could be like a Liger level character if he comes to the United States, does a couple runs like inside of a AEW. I think that's where Kyle O'Reilly could really, really shine. Just to kind of reference what's going on in the chat. Let's talk Johnny Gargano.
I think I just wanted to say with Kyle O'Reilly, the only thing I can think of is him not hearing this. If he does, Kyle, great match. But if he knows that's where he is on the pecking order of the cool guys, then he should do what they should have done or tried to do with what's his name? He's with Tracy Brooks. He was Bobby Roode's partner.
James Storm?
No, the other one. Fucking A, dude. He was the elite hunter, Kazarian.
Oh, Frankie Kazarian.
So what they did with Kazarian trying to hunt the elite, Kyle O'Reilly should do from the outside before he's contracted, and guys are getting every one of the elites, something near death happens to them.
That's my pitch for Kevin Steen.
I like that too. I don't think Steen's gonna leave, though. I think that they'd be foolish to let him go. And
really?
if they do let him go, he's one dude who will go over there and make a real impact, as opposed to the last 15 guys they've hired. Steen will jump the line in front of them in one promo. He'll be on the level of Kingston and fucking Punk.
I agree, but I'm afraid they're going to bring him in as part of Rushmore, and he's going to be dressed up as a young buck the first night that he goes walking out on Dynamite, and we're all going to laugh at him, and he's going to be so defined down inside of that context.
I mean, that's just a throwback for the PWG marks.
The Rushmore marks,
yeah, the 2 CW marks. It'll get a reaction, but there's bigger ways to make that fucking impact. You know what I mean? But they are marks enough, and Khan is mark enough that he'll pull that spot night one. I could see that happening.
Johnny Gargano. What do you do with Johnny Gargano? It seems as though his run in NXT has come to an end. What is Ben Hamin's ideal landing spot for Johnny Gargano? Because I have a really hard time seeing where he necessarily fits into the landscape of pro wrestling right now.
So tough, man. And another guy from 2CW, who did great stuff there and can get it over with a look. And after so many fucking concrete bumps in NXT versus Ciampa, I hope that he sticks more to character, which his stuff with Sam Shaw and all that kind of shit was very good this year.
Great pop for Sam Shaw last night.
Yeah.
Great pop.
Good. Awesome guy, awesome artist, man. Insane artist, actually.
Does he really do all that shit?
Dude, Like his
Wow.
drawing,
Yeah, he's fantastic then.
like he should quit wrestling and fucking just strictly focus on that, bro.
Him and Punk should hook up and do a real good comic book.
Yeah, well, I mean, I think the guy is so beyond anything that like they should be letting him do posters and stuff, and like he could sell his own art that way and live off of it, probably make more than wrestling if he wanted to, you know. So but yeah, dude, that sorry, where was it going right before that? We were talking about
Gargano.
Oh, Gargano. I don't know, bro. Like so small, like it's so competent, so awesome. But the reason why they got hired in NXT, him and Tommaso busted their ass calling every day for a year and a half, hitting and while being on the road, ROH, 2CW, PWG, every indie, the Northeastern Championship Wrestling. You couldn't deny those guys. They were just so hungry. And now 5 years later after that, where is he? Kind of bumped out. Obviously, he's still not going to grow into like a massive dude. So how are you going to bring in a guy? If you brought him into AEW, here's the packing order of size: Marco Stunt, Johnny Gargano,
right?
Fucking Orange Cassidy, right? Like
Adam Cole.
Adam Cole. But Adam Cole, even though they're misusing him, you know.
Oh yeah.
You know what? That's it. You just answered it. If I'm going to bring Gargano in and make him serious, there's only one guy that I go to. I pick up right where we left off and ratchet it up versus Adam Cole to make them. And they may need each other. Adam Cole may need Johnny Gargano to get him over, because what they're doing now with bringing him out as a babyface, boom, and then he turns into a heel in the same segment is the most asshole idiot booking, where you're never going to make somebody, because you're not heel enough, so you're not going to make a baby face or draw a ticket because people see you beat, and you're not getting yourself over enough as a baby face to go sell $1 million in t-shirts, so that you should be fucking doing. So whatever this mark out to try and be both is absolutely wrong. And any of the fans who think that it's about the match and the work rate and and I see this in the chats, there are no heels, they're in night. You're a fucking moron. You don't know anything about booking. You don't know what draws an audience, what draws a rating, and the proof is in the numbers. When you have 900,000 on Wednesday, and then you open up Rampage with Gargano, or excuse me, with Cole and fucking, was it Fish versus Pockets and his partner, best friends, like
Wheeler Yuta, I think.
Wheeler Yuta. Why is Wheeler Yuta and Orange Cassidy pulling 20 minutes with the fucking Elite, bro? Like, not shouldn't even have been booked, let alone open the show. What did that show do? 403,000 after SmackDown did a record 1.9 million, where you have a captive audience on Thanksgiving at home. You went down another 20% because you were at 500,000 the week before. That's a huge fucking problem, not just in marketing, promotion, and having a captive audience of wrestling not turn the channel, but then when they do, and they are conditioned to your WWE guys, this is how you're going to use them. You just lowered the stock price of those guys big time with that match.
I feel like the problem with Adam Cole is he should have turned babyface like 6 years ago. When he was in Ring of Honor, coming out of the Kingdom, he was poised for a babyface run. Instead, they put him in the Bullet Club. Coming out of the Bullet Club, he was poised for a babyface run. Instead, he goes to NXT and starts the Undisputed Era. And it's been like 6 years. And I think what Adam Cole doesn't realize, he wants to be Shawn Michaels, and he wants to be Shawn Michaels really bad.
Shawn wants him to be Shawn.
The problem is he has zero heat. Zero heat. You have to turn him babyface so he can turn heel on somebody and get some freaking heat.
Who's his biggest heat with?
Kenny?
Tony Schiavone. Tony Schiavone and Old Cole is his biggest heat. So if he's going to heel on somebody, there's the opportunity for him to heel on Schiavone for no payback with the Britt Baker stuff. But this week on Dynamite, out of nowhere, we have fucking MJF pulling the Sean on Brett on Punk, saying that Punk is trying to bang Britt Baker out of nowhere, bro. Like, not even. And then Cole comes out in the next segment, and Cole heats on Schiavone for kind of the same thing, but it's not. But you're like, whoa, what's going on backstage? Punk's trying to fuck around on his wife with Britt Baker, and MJF's the one calling it out, and Cole doesn't put it over. So if we have real stakes, let's drop that to the net. And why isn't Cole backstage in fucking Punk's face going, I'll fucking kill you if you look at my fucking lady one more time, bro?
Or
Like,
furthermore, just come out on commentary and be like, first thing, MJF, if Britt Baker's mouth or name comes out of your mouth ever again, I'm going to beat your ass.
Right.
Number
baby.
2, screw you, Schiavone. Like, that's all he had to say. Like, he had to at least pay some kind of lip service to it. Now he just comes off as a little bitch because MJF just called your girlfriend a whore on national television and you didn't say a word.
Yeah, because you're the little guy and you don't want to rock the boat. But that's where our heat is. Nobody wants to fucking go that route. And then even if it's some bullshit stuff where their relationship is still together and kayfabe from the crowd, they said all that. Where's Britt Baker's response? We don't even want a response. What we want is a show don't tell scene where the lights get flipped on and Britt Baker gets caught making out with somebody, but you don't see who it is. And then we have a, who is it? Is it Punk? MJF? Is she making out with Shivani? Do we want to go comedy? Or is it somebody else? And is Britt Baker really a hoe that way? You know what I mean?
And if it was good business, AJ Lee would show up Wednesday night and be jumping up in Britt's face like, what's your goddamn problem?
100%, bro. 100% that. And bring the reality into it. But instead, and you could either make Adam Cole the cuck, or you could make him the heartbroken dude who got fucked around on, and you have empathy for him.
Whatever you want to do, either or.
Both are strong choices, right? So at the end of the day, what do they really have there? And WWE had it too, and they didn't know what the fuck to do. Sean and them, I saw them marking out for it, but whatever. You have the next Tom Cruise, right? He looks like it. Why are we not saying what makes Tom Cruise great is what makes Adam Cole great? How did Tom Cruise get over with these, whether it's from fucking Top Gun coolness, Mission Impossible, sliding across the floor in your underwear, fucking doing lip sync? Like, where do we show him sex appeal wise? Where do we show him as one of the most handsome guys in wrestling? And how do we make fun of and get heat on his size and have him overcome? You know, Tom Cruise is tiny, but he can still whoop the shit out of everybody else if he needs to, dude. So I pitched that too. I think Scientology would be an awesome angle for these guys to go in, but I don't see the Church of Scientology letting AEW do a fucking rib angle because they'll sue anybody. They might sue us just for saying this fucking shit, but I'll go down there and stomp the shit out of L. Ron Hubbard's fucking grandkids. I don't give a shit. So, you know.
The other one I thought was damaged was Punk, because number 1, Punk never denied it. And number 2, Britt Baker is a heel, right? So, I mean, all Punk had to do was come out and say, dude, have you seen my wife? She's way hotter than Britt Baker. That's all he had to say, but instead he didn't deny it.
Or is it
just continues to put over Britt?
Yeah. Or is it, he's really trying to put her over? You know what I mean? Like, this is the weird incest of wrestling, man. Yo, Jimbo wants me over at AEW. Hey, man, you know his Twitter at Tony Khan. Hit him up. Let him know. At 400,000 on a Friday night, bro. I sit over here and I'm like, you know,
I have to cover that show, Hamin. How do you think I feel? Well, we call it AEW Lightning.
Yeah, it's rough, man. And to be honest with you, that's where the selfishness, not selfishness, because I want it for the best of the business. I go, give me that show. Give me that show and let me pick my 20 guys and give me 6 floaters, and I will get your tag to division over. I will make you real heels, and I'll have mid-card storylines that can later elevate to the top level stories while over on Dynamite and get guys ready that way for you. But what I'm seeing on that show is just such a clusterfuck. And then there's so many marketing issues before we even get to the actual show and creative itself. There's no reason for a 75% drop off from SmackDown to that. That's unfathomable to me, bro.
Shout out to High Life, no big deal, over in the chat room, home of Bullet Club Jay White. Hamin, you know who Jay White is?
Yes, I do. Switchblade.
Has Jay White ever been colder, like in the history of his career, than he is right now? Like, that dude is working New Japan Strong. We talk about AEW ratings. Ain't nobody watching New Japan Strong. And when I look at my watch right now, it is December 6th. Wrestle Kingdom is January 4th. And to get into the country of Japan, it takes at least 3 weeks. Jay White's not going to be at Wrestle Kingdom. And he's like the greatest heel in the business right now.
That's it's tough, man. I mean, with the phoniness of wrestling, will always be way at the bottom when it comes to world domination of the Omicron fucking variants and all that shit that they want to do.
Oh, don't get me going on Omicron. We'll be here for another freaking hour, man.
Yeah, I mean, if
I only got so much whiskey, Hamin.
I will get you more. They're always making more. They made more 12 years ago. So, yeah, that's a problem in the fact of him getting back over there, but he should really be holding on to that spot like his nuts right now with as many fucking free agents. And if he's already had that spot, he should be working his ass off. And it's New Japan versus Noah, right? On that, see, look at old Hacker, because I got the inside scoop from
That's
Sonny.
night 3. What's night 1 and 2, Hamin?
It's fucking best Soba Nuda battle royal. But that's that. I got that inside stooge from Stevie Ray TV on YouTube on Sonny Ono Tokyo Heat. So there's a good clip over there now that El Plaja clipped up for us. If you guys want to go subscribe, that's what we're asking on Stevie Ray TV YouTube. I've been putting up clips all weekend, so a lot of good stuff there. And if you want to go to his patreon.com/Stevie Ray TV to get the full shows and the world's most dangerous podcast, he had Ronnie Shields on last week, legendary boxing trainer, of many champions. So, but that's about where I get my New Japan knowledge from, aside from listening to you, is Sonny Ono with the inside scoop on that one. But I don't think he said anything about Jay White. Jay White had that quick little run in Impact where he was back in the States and kind of got over as like a property.
He's still here and he's doing nothing.
Yeah. I worked maybe 2 shows with him on the Indies. Nice enough guy. And he does all the shit I'm not going to do.
He's the best counter wrestler in the business right now. Like, whatever you throw at Jay White, he will find a way to counter it and put you on your ass. And it's fantastic as a heel gimmick. But I just, why he's not on AEW TV, I just do not understand.
Like, to bring a guy like that in, what are you going to do? Put him against Tony Nese on Dark Elevation? That's as high as you're gonna get, bro. Like, that's as high. Like, why would, and no disrespect to Tony Nese, fucking crazy
creator wrestler number 4 is how I refer to him.
But you're gonna hire that guy to put him at fucking ringside to be like, and Tony Nese is here. Oh, okay. I mean, the guy who never got over and almost had a 205 live run and a 24/7 title, and that's all we know of him. Not the best look. So if he's at that level, bringing Jay White in, he's going to be even under that. So just because you're signed with AEW or these things doesn't mean that you're over. In fact, I've been thinking about this a lot, obviously, because I won the wars in Afghanistan and Iraq and destroyed everybody on 9/11
single-handedly. Single-handedly. He
Too
flew all the airplanes by himself.
I'm great at jumping out last minute.
Multitasking, bitches.
Is it time for me to turn babyface or shooter heel where I'm just Russo's Shogun on the mic and I say what the fuck I want to say and it goes viral because I don't give a shit, because how blackballed can you be? Right. So
you'd be like Kevin Steen, Jim Cornette, like Ring of Honor kind of babyface
on a higher level than even they took it. You know what I mean?
Of course.
Having my finger on the pulse and influence and stooging off things that even you guys don't know about. And I'm not trying to keep you in the dark, but like, I sit on so much nuclear ammunition. Like, I've got the keys and the code ready to go. And I every day I have to not do it, and it would take my indie rate from $130 to like $600-700, per show. But
I will pay you $150 to come drink whiskey with me, Ben Hamin.
I'm plus trans. But like that kind of shit, like that's what guys like him need to throw caution to the wind. If he's that much of a heel, then why isn't he banging on New Japan? Why isn't he banging on fucking ROH? Why isn't he talking shit to Tony Khan going, you think you got heels over there? I'll whip the fuck out of anybody you got on your roster. You don't want to bring me in because your guys are scared to be exposed at how good I am. I'm Jay motherfucking White, and I will switchblade carve your ass up on live TV, and you will be on Dark Elevation, not me. I'm going straight to the main event, and put himself over that way. It's some upper level indie show where he knows that Bang Bang is going to go viral and get to the top level. Now, I'm not going to say it because I'm not going in there to fucking. I'd have a good match with Jericho, but some other guys, I'm not wrestling Pentagon anytime soon and getting that shit over. So,
that dude.
Yeah, well, I don't know. Pentagon and Phoenix versus Hamin and Congo Kong. I think that'd be a fucking draw. That'd be something you hadn't seen in a while. So, but
shout out to MJF for the ... injured line on Dynamite. I popped for that. Like talking about Ray Phoenix from Pentagon.
Yeah, I like all that shit. But he's doing it as the heel that's there with a tongue-in-cheek fucking right for the smart marks. Who's gonna really bang on these motherfuckers? Who acts like I don't give a fuck about your contract, and if you don't sign me, you're dumb as shit because I'm undeniable. Really, the only other person, and I don't know this guy that well, but who is like that? What's old boy from Dark Side of the Ring that they brought in from the death match? Nick Gage?
Luther.
No.
Nick Gage. Yep.
Right. Like he's one of the only ones, maybe an Eddie Kingston, who really fires off like that, but even they're kind of reined in. But who's going to take their reins off and make some real waves? That's what's got to happen with this sea of 135 fucking workers out there, all looking for maybe 3 job openings. You got 3 doors and 135 people are trying to run through it at the same time. Tough. Well,
as much as I would love to continue talking New Japan, AEW, and I feel like that name is Kazuchika Okada. They keep, like, Jim Ross can't keep his name out of his mouth any more than I can. But I want to talk to you about Roman Reigns before we wrap things up this week. The biggest name in pro wrestling. I think we have to consider him as that at this point. Roman Reigns, Brock Lesnar, day one. How does Ben Hamin book this thing? Like, is this just Lesnar over strong? Roman gets a couple months off. We do like Drew McIntyre, Brock Lesnar, Roman Reigns at WrestleMania. Like, what are we doing here?
That's interesting. Gee, I don't put Brock under ever. You know what I mean?
Never.
It's not going to hurt Roman to fucking lose it. So what is the way that it does go down where Brock goes up, or if Roman goes over, it's got to be a big heel finish using the Usos.
If Brock goes over, Drew McIntyre wins the Rumble. Like, he's the one guy that's been able to slay the beast over the last couple of years. Roman shows back up come March, weasels his way into the main event. You do a triple threat at WrestleMania?
Yeah, definitely. I would, to keep Drew up to the level where he should, instead of just walking around with a goddamn sword threatening to stab people.
I feel like that's why he was kept out of that battle royal, was to keep him strong going into Royal Rumble WrestleMania season.
Yeah, you want it that much more. I would agree with that. He's a top property. Why would you, mid card him or upper card him just to like have the wheels spinning? I mean, they can't even get Jinder on TV, and that guy's fucking got money written all over him, bro. We're over here talking about, and no offense, Kyle O'Reilly and Adam Cole, but you could get me a dozen Kyle O'Reillys and Adam Cole, and I'll take one Jinder Mahal over those guys any day of the week. A bigger money draw, bro. So
I would, if he wasn't so defined down by the booking. Like, I feel like that's the problem with Jinder, is he's so defined down in his booking over the course of the years that people just don't take him seriously. Kind of like Sami Zayn after SmackDown. Where's
Jinder saying fuck you then? Like, he's the one who should be cutting that promo of he should know he knows his value and whatnot. And dude, go right over with your boy fucking CT Fletcher and let him motherfuck everybody if you need to. Let him cut the promo. You know what I mean? If you got to keep it that way. But yeah, there's so many guys with millions of dollars written on them that I don't. But I think the big story really isn't even Brock and fucking Roman. It's where is Hamin? Hamin is the catalyst.
Yep.
Yeah, we're waiting for that turn. There's going to be a point in that story, in that match, where Hamin has to make the Sophie's choice. And either the whole time it was a front where he was with the fucking
You are my tribal chief.
and that was all to get close to him so Brock could be there, and then he goes back over, or he tries to fuck over Brock to help out.
I am the head of the table, the tribal chief.
And gets caught, and Brock fucking kills him. You know what
But
I mean?
I have felt like going back to Crown Jewel, right? Like Heyman throws the title into the ring right between Brock and Roman.
Oh yeah, there's
clearly
right.
His allegiance is to the championship, not to either one of the performers, right?
But well, I don't know. His allegiance is to Brock. Like that's what it is. Like the rest.
I feel like the problem here is it makes Roman look like an idiot because he knows he cannot trust Paul Heyman. Loyalty is above everything else to Roman Reigns.
Right.
So him keeping Paul Heyman around just like brings Roman down on a week by week basis for me.
Oh, you can't trust the Zionist.
Well, yeah, right. Like obviously you can't trust
That's
Paul
the
Heyman.
story, right? Like he's the slimy fucking lawyer that will fuck you over. And he's not part of the tribe, the real bloodline. It's a outside Jewish guy with a bunch of Samoans.
I tell my kids, Ben, like you find yourself a man that looks at you like fucking Paul Heyman looks at the Universal Championship. Like, I mean, like that is true love right there.
But I think if we're talking bloodline, it's who's not really in the bloodline. He's in a different bloodline of chosen people. And that's where it's going to fuck you over. And indigenous people have been getting fucked over by greedy white guys since the beginning of time. So why not play that fucking moment out?
But they put Paul Heyman over in Saudi Arabia to show how progressive they are.
Well, I mean, you're not going to fucking take out Paul Heyman. That would be an act of like war at this point. You know what I mean? To do that.
Yeah, but that's a lot of money. It's a lot of money.
They didn't cut him up and Khashoggi him into 15 pieces.
If you Khashoggi Paul Heyman in the middle of the ring, we'll give you $7 billion.
Well, no,
Vince McMahon would do it.
That's a difference. I mean, everybody's got a price, right? At the end of the day, the chat was blowing up, and I saw this on the sheets. The other big news, while we start taking it home here, is Jeff Hardy sent home. Was in a tag match at a house show with Drew, and fucking came down slapping hands with everybody, baby facing, I guess, powdered, went through the crowd and walked out. And people are going, is this guy relapsing? Did he shit his pants and had to leave? I don't know. Like, but when you get sent home, it's more than shitting your pants, possibly in the ring and having the flu. You know, is this 4 or 5 times? And, you know, the times I've worked with Jeff, I hate to disparage him because he's been super awesome to me. And so is Matt. But I just go back to that moment in TNA where they sent him out there in that match. Sting, bro. And instead of going, sit the fuck down, Bobby Roode, you're up, go pull 15 minutes and win the title. Like,
how much of that is on Jeff and how much of that is on Eric?
I'd say, well, it's definitely on Jeff showing up to work, fucking gimmicked out of your mind where you can't even stand up.
Eric still sent him out there like that.
I agree. Not good at all, you know. And
I mean, I'm a Bischoff mark through and through.
Yeah.
I happily admit that, but that might be his worst moment in like the history of the Eric Bischoff career.
Yeah. It was a terrible call. You know, and the boys didn't take care of Jeff either. Like if Jeff would have sat it out, and we could have come up with 15 kayfabe excuses to protect Good Brother while he's fucking doing that. Now we're exposing us all as addicts and fucking, we don't care about this art, and the producer and the director you're just a whore to them. Get the fuck out there. And like, we're all embarrassed. And
especially all this talk about Willow and Jeff Hardy becoming the new like supernatural character inside of a WWE context, which Vince loves. Look at Undertaker, The Fiend, etc. Willow would have been great for Vince McMahon. Like that is that character geared towards 8-year-olds. And here we are again.
Yeah, dude. Yeah, again. And I can't see, I can see WWE sending him to rehab, sure. And I hope he does if he gets the help, if he's back on gimmicks or drinking, what have you. But like, dude, I can see that at an Impact or at a fucking, even maybe an AEW. I don't know how you're getting away with it at WWE showing up gimmicked up, bro. And like being able to get through Gorilla to the point where you're then walking out of the match and not coming back for the beauty pose. Like something is either really wrong. It's got to be wrong because they sent him home. It can't be an injury or just like a COVID thing. It's got to be something of the addiction level once again. And who's the doctors prescribing this guy fucking pills, or like if he is drinking a fifth of fucking whiskey in the parking lot before he comes in, who's not spotting that and doing that kind of stuff that would even allow him to go through Gorilla, and the guys in the match with him, the boys know you're not going to get over on them.
Yep.
Like at a house show, so, and if it's just him, let me say this, it's not just him. If it like there's somebody else who's supplying those gimmicks. There's somebody else who's got that same thing, who's enabling him on the road. And it could be worse than what you think it is. So I don't know. And he was on a good run too, man. Like 4 or 5 really solid matches and highlights. And I don't know why some guys, when they're given that spotlight again, self-sabotage and fucking when he should be wrapping up his career there with all the accolades. Now it's just going to end with another black eye, and that's very unfortunate.
And when you look at the babyface depth chart on SmackDown, actual challengers to Roman Reigns, Jeff Hardy's on that short list.
Yeah, as a guy that you want to believe and get over, like they did it with the Battle Royal until Sammy fucked him over, and that was a good thing, to swerve at the end. And I was just reading the Freddie Prinze Jr., which gives me a trigger because lost my job doing, but whatever, it's Freddie Prinze. And he talks about how he got heat with Triple H, and Triple H lost all faith in him. And what got him fired is because Michael Hayes came to Freddie Prinze with a directive from Vince McMahon on how to get Jeff Hardy to the main event to win the title. And when he was supposed to, the boys, when Triple H was still on the roster, was like, fuck that. This guy's an addict. He can't be trusted. He'll drop it and da-da-da-da. A naive Freddie Prinze Jr. goes to battle for his business, and obviously a Hollywood worker versus a wrestling worker, it's not even a fucking match. And that's what kind of cut fucking Freddie Prinze Jr.'s throat, is going hard in the paint for Jeff Hardy and his creative, but Triple H's politics and being with the boss's daughter will trump that all day long. So,
and Richard Pryor.
And what's that? I'm sorry?
Richard Pryor.
Explain that to me.
You haven't heard that story? So Freddie Prinze Jr. is on an airplane with Vince McMahon, and he's watching old school Richard Pryor comics.
Okay.
On the plane. And Vince comes walking up and he's like, "What are you watching?" And he's like, I'm watching old school Richard Pryor comics. And he's like, "Why? We have our truth for that." I mean, like, that's Vince's mindset. Like, we have something for everyone, and our comic is our truth.
I don't know why he'd be hot about that, because I'd be stealing Richard Pryor bits for our truth.
Absolutely.
Dude, and they just had the one thing with them getting sprayed in the face with AJ with the fucking which they botched at NXT last night with the fucking fire extinguisher, which is all chemicals and CO2. And then he played the blind thing up, right?
Yep.
But then he blew it in the same show. Like he goes from the fucking Christmas story, I ate soap and I'm blind, to like, let me do the jump up and get knocked off. He was great on commentary. He's like, boy, this match sounds awesome. I wish I could see it. I was laughing at that shit. But dude, the next thing you do is, while he's blind, is somebody makes him deaf too with an air horn. So he's Helen Keller the fuck out, and he can just do comedy backstage where somebody's got to lead him by his hand, or he thinks he's safe and he's doing the Mr. Bean about to walk off into the dumpster or whatever, you know what I mean, off the loading dock. But he just makes it. He can see, but the reality is he's blind because he's got glasses on, right? We could have played all of that shit out, dude. And I was like, I was talking to Russo. I go, there's fucking 10 bits from See No Evil, Hear No Evil, Richard Pryor. I could fucking steal right now, and AJ would have to take 0 bumps, and he'd probably be the most over segment on your show within 2 minutes of filming a fucking pre-tape of crazy scenarios where a blind/deaf AJ puts himself in and he doesn't know he's in harm's way, bro. So to have Vince McMahon come up and go, who's that Blizz? Oh, Richard Pryor? Yeah, let's sign him. Doesn't and not know doesn't surprise me at all, bro. But Freddie Prinze Jr.'s I guess downfall is my Schadenfreude to be.
Yeah, but he banged Sarah Michelle Gellar, so props to him for that.
Yeah, dude, you ever fucking dealt with actresses, bro? That's a bigger headache than fucking what it's worth, I bet, at the end of the day.
I've dealt with strippers, and that's bad enough.
Well, they only want one thing, money. So
Gully Blanchard in the chat, who says Eric sent him out to be like that? Eric.
Yeah.
Eric readily admits that
oh, was... even Russo has talked about this with Dixie and being like, oh, she doesn't know when they're all gimmicked up and just let him go take a nap. And like, what are you fucking saying? Like, that shows you what these promoters really think of us as fucking horses that they will take out back and put a bullet in the back of their, and it's self-induced, obviously, with addiction and whatnot.
Clearly, yeah.
That's
the sad part, right? Like, he needs Reby in his life to keep him fucking straight.
Something to crack whip on him, bro. Like to really. And he's got kids who are at home, and whatnot, and they're seeing that. And if he's home by himself and he's having addiction issues, and now he's depressed because he knows he fucked up, do you think he's just gonna wake up today and be like, I got to get my shit straight? I hope he does, but chances are he's gonna be rocking the fucking rattlesnake and hitting the bottle, bro. Like, that's just how it is.
Yo, Jimbo, I would be hitting up Sarah Michelle Gellar right now. I mean, I'm just saying. saying.
Yeah,
I'd give her a couple more kids. Hamin, we are an hour and 21 minutes in, and I've been through so many glasses of Crown at this point. I mean, I just got off work, y'all. Like, throw me a bone here. All right.
Early morning bourbon sessions with Jargo. I appreciate you, man.
Early morning, late night, y'all.
With Destino, with I'm going to put it up at Channel Attitude probably later this afternoon. Your NCAA football, just great content creation while you're also trying to save Sinclair, and then doing double duty to jump in here when I need you, man. I really appreciate everything you do for HMG and having our backs on my back on the New Japan front, being probably the foremost expert, I think, in wrestling punditry on Japanese wrestling, the history, and what's coming up, and Wrestle Kingdom 16. So I just wanted to say thank you and appreciate you, man, for all you do here.
I appreciate it. Thank you very much. I'm very, very happy to be here. It's great to sit down with the Ayatollah himself. You can catch me a little bit later on today over at the 2-Man Power Trip. I'll be on with John Paz and the Real RBV as we talk about the best rivalry in pro wrestling of all time. How it's not Austin McMahon, I'll never understand, but Paz will spin it around somehow to be about Hogan. And myself, 8-Track Brown, Billy Ray Valentine, we will be along for an all-new episode of Destino as we preview Wrestle Kingdom 16. I'm looking forward to that. I'm almost out of Crown, Hamin. I'm almost out of Crown, bro.
Crown is delicious, man. I got about a third of a bottle of Woodford Reserve left and a couple swallows of Larceny, but I need to restock some brown liquor too here for the holidays, man.
9 days off, first day back at work. It's been a long day, but I am so happy to sit down with the Ayatollah himself. Ben, take us home. And hopefully we can do this again soon, man, rather than like a Friday at 2:00 in the afternoon where I haven't gotten any sleep and it's all off air.
It's all good, man. I always an open invitation anytime you want to join on the locker rooms, dude. We love having your opinion on all that. It's always a cool, different dynamic. You know what I mean? Having a new tag partner and how we relate to each other. It's very cool when you guys sign up for Hamin Media Group on channelattitude.com or at Patreon, which I'm producing new stuff this week, actually. Starting a new podcast with Joe Feeney, man, a new tag team partner. We're going to finally get to the Sopranos breakdown. So this week's going to be our first episode there. Very excited about all of that and everything we got going on. Subscribe to Stevie Ray TV, Hamin Media Group, The A Show, and obviously Russo brand, where Al Snow is absolutely killing it. I'm loving him over there, but I don't love giving away the $6,000 education I paid for $5 a month.
Shout out to Joe Feeney, though. I'd love to do a show with that dude.
Yeah, dude. Another great producer who gets it. I mean, you see what he does with K100 and on the side with other projects. He's right in the trenches as a top producer in this industry, who's not towing the line of some bullshit. You know what I mean? He's got to take a lot of heat and he's got to make sure the shows are delivered on time. And I know he's a true pro. We've been talking about this for a minute, so I'm very, very excited to do something with him and that K100 crossover, man. Maybe you'll see a hacker over there. You can always hit them up too. But y'all, man.
Shout out to Conan and Disco.
Oh, yeah, dude. I mean, real opinions, even though sometimes they got to toe the line to protect their boys. You know what I mean? Whether it's Ray and Dominic or, if Conan's going to be on AEW, he doesn't want to bury LAX or anything and get residual heat, which
more importantly, Ben, I mean, one of these days I'll release the audio. I've got audio of Disco just burying you from 2018, like going way back, bro, all the way back to StarCast. He was like that Ben Hamin guy.
Yeah, well, I mean, the worst thing in wrestling is if nobody's saying your name. So even if he's ribbing me and going around and it's a WCW legend, man, and if he wants the match anytime, I don't care if it's at Sapphires or wherever the fuck, Immortal Championship Wrestling. I'm glad.
I mean, Wolfie beat him. Wolfie beat him, for God's sake.
Yeah. So we'll see if Disco wants it like that. But
do him up like Demetrios, like fucking shove a fucking donut in his face.
Yeah, man. Disco does. I'll beat him in the dance off too. I beat Tracy Smothers. I can beat Disco Inferno in a dance off. That's not a fucking problem. But appreciate everybody going to cameo.com/Ben Hamin. If you want your Christmas canceled, it's not the Omnicron variant, it's the Homnicron variant that will cancel your Christmases. Tell your fat Aunt Karen to go get some better presents on that bullshit she's always giving and to shut her stupid mouth talking all that Rachel Mad Cow bullshit at the dinner table. And if you really want to piss them off, go to prowrestlingtees.com/Ben Hamin and get everybody in your family a Ben Hamin shirt and flip them to the dark side, infidels. As we make it through another Monday night tonight, 3 hours strong, I'll be back just a little bit to record the SmackDown review off air with Big Stevie Cool. And then y'all all week long, you guys know where to keep it locked. Twitch.tv/Hamin Media and channelattitude.com, infidels. It's Big Jargo and Hacker Hamin doing it the only way we know how at HMG on the Monday Locker Room, infidels. Y'all.